next to you. Okay, those of you who are over here, walk on over.
How does this work?
Okay, so we have a seat right here next to Professor Yurtseven. You're guaranteed to get an A in her class if you sit next to her. It's taken. So, hello, good evening. It's good to see some friendly faces. First things first, where are the bathrooms? Down the hall and to your left. Please put your phone on vibrate or silence.
I mean, what we can do is we can try to ask them if they take the table, sit on top of the table, and if they don't.
And if you haven't already, please remember to sign in. Thank you for coming this evening. My name is Lenore Cabrera, and I am the Interim Dean of Business Design and Workforce. Welcome. It's great to see such wonderful faces here for our panel discussion about women in tech. So I want to talk a little bit about data, the data we have on gender diversity in the Silicon Valley. How many of you have heard about the Google letter? The open forum Google letter? Yes, exactly. So it's very timely that we have our speakers here. So women in tech amount for approximately 18% of the workforce here in the Silicon Valley. 18%. And 2% of that workforce is African American, and 3% of that workforce is Hispanic. And this is timely. timely because we have the Google letter. In addition, I read an article this morning. Thank you. I read an article this morning about a CEO in the Silicon Valley. Her name is Aylin Carr. She is CEO of Glass Breakers. She dyes her hair brown. She's a blonde naturally. She dyes her hair brown so that people will take her as credible. I had a student who is currently at Loyola in Chicago. She also dyes her hair brown so people will take her seriously. So this isn't just a student problem getting into tech, it's a problem once our students are in tech. So with the support of Phi Theta Kappa, the STEM Center, and our strong workforce, we have a panel today of women in tech. They're here to talk to you. And we have some opening remarks by Marcella Grant and Sally Heath with the STEM Center. Again, thank you for coming and enjoy this evening.
I'm Marcella Grant. I guess I have opening remarks. They're really announcements. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for coming. I'm Marcella. I'm the Assistant Project Director of the STEM Center. So this is the kickoff for the speaker series for this semester. Next Wednesday, we'll actually be doing a faculty highlight with Dr. Carol Rhodes, which is our lovely professor of biology. Also, we have an event that's going on Saturday at San Jose State. It's a diversity engineering conference. It's going to be comprised of different modules where you can learn about current technology, like how the Tesla battery is made, virtual reality module, the professional development module, also with mock interviews and a career fair and internship fair that's going to go on. It's totally free to you guys. We're actually taking a bus. So if you guys want to sign up with us, you can sign up at the tables afterward, and we'll get you hooked up with that. Current announcement for tonight, there's a math throwdown going on in the STEM Center, which is 257, room 257. And what a math throwdown is basically you're studying together as a huge study group that gets down with math. So it's going to be from 6 to 9 in room 257. Also, next week, we're going to be introducing student ID card registration to make the registration go quicker than this. So if you are able, if you already have a student ID card, great. If you don't get one, go to the ASCC office. It's totally free to you guys. You actually pay for it already as a part of your fees. So this is something that you're entitled to. You also get 150 free copies from them. A lot of students don't know that. Also, you can get discounts for Forever 21 and from the movies and all that stuff. Students don't know that. I think I'm gonna get me one, even though I'm a staff member. So I can get a discount, okay? So definitely get a student ID card, and if you have a student ID card, all we'll do is you'll come in and we'll zap you, sit down, get your pizza or whatever, it'll go faster. So people that do not have your student ID card, you will have to sign in every time. So you'll get tired of it fast, so get your student ID card. So now I'm gonna introduce Sally, she has a couple more announcements.
Just one, I'm only gonna announce myself, because I'm that important. I'm a retention specialist in the STEM Center, and the one thing I want to say that's related to tonight is I am the newest contact in the STEM Center for our female students in STEM. So come talk to me. I've seen a lot of your faces already and talked with you, but reach out. I have lots of things to share, and that's how I got involved with this event. I'd like to turn it over to Alex Kramer, the Director of Workforce Development.
How's everyone tonight? Good. Let's try it again. How's everyone tonight? All right, good. Thank you. I am really happy to be here tonight. I'm happy to be here with all of you. There's been a lot of work that's gone on behind the scenes to make tonight possible. So if we could just get a quick round of applause for PTK, the Phi Theta Kappa Group, and the STEM Center. Thank you. Really appreciate working with everyone to make tonight possible. So I want to make this short and sweet. I get the pleasure of introducing our panelists and our moderator tonight. So, sound good? All of you have bios. I'm going to try to read through this as quick as possible, all right? So we are going to start by introducing our moderator for tonight, Aylin Demirci. Thank you. So Aylin specializes in trademark law with an emphasis on domestic and international trademark clearance, prosecution, counseling, and enforcement. Her experience includes worldwide copyright and trademark portfolio management, pre-litigation disputes, litigation, licensing, and commercial contracts. She develops brand creation, protection, and enforcement strategies, often in uncharted territories where the existing IP law falls short of addressing recent tech solutions and their unique IP challenges. This is really interesting. You're not going to be invoicing us for this, are you, Aylin? She's an IP attorney, so we're going to have a very expensive bill, that's right. Her clients include companies in the fields of computer software and hardware, mobile communications, automobiles, industrial machines, medical devices, pharmaceutical, banking, commercial, consumer electronics, home appliances, apparel, cosmetics, food, and beverages. So let's get around for Aylin. This is great. So our first panelist is Sylvia Vaquer. I was supposed to roll the R, but I cannot do that, I'm sorry. I really tried, I was practicing before. So Sylvia is committed to shaping brands into useful experiences that positively impact people's lives. After graduating from Rhode Island School of Design, Sylvia helped mold brands like Starbucks, Target, Washington Mutual, Project Red, PepsiCo, and Univision at branding firms like Wolf Olins, Addis, Interbrand, and Rems Club. Thank you. I knew I'd mess that up. 6 years ago, she co-founded SocioFabrica, a digital agency based in San Francisco, where she helps brands such as Nespresso, NTT, Ross Stores, IBM, StubHub, and StubHub improve their digital experiences. Her work has won multiple awards, including Communication, Arts, Design, and Interactive Annuals, W3 Awards, that's awesome, Rebrand 100, and the American Graphic Design Awards. She's committed to changing the staggering numbers of women in leadership in the design industry, and recently she co-founded She Leads, a series of events and workshops to help further women in design careers. She's born and raised in Puerto Rico, and outside of work, traveling, yoga, and cooking keeps her sane. So a round of applause for Sylvia, please. Our next panelist I have the pleasure of introducing is Aisha Williams. Aisha is an engineering program manager at Amazon Lab 126. She's a graduate of San Jose State University with a BS degree in industrial technology. During high school, Aisha was involved with two prominent STEM-related programs in the Bay Area, the Dr. Frank S. Green Scholars Program and the Mesa Schools Program, and I believe Kenyatta is actually, we have a Mesa program here. Being a participant of those programs has helped her shape the career that she would one day have. During her time at San Jose State, she had the opportunity to work as a student assistant for the Mesa Schools program, helping students to explore STEM-related activities that they would normally not be exposed to. Aisha has a passion for planning and creating spaces where people can connect with one another. In her free time, she enjoys spending time with her family. She also enjoys traveling domestically and abroad, and she recently took up biking as a new hobby. So welcome, Aisha. Thank you. So our next panelist I'm happy to introduce to you is Sevtap-Isik. Sevtap started her career as a research engineer at the Scientific and Technological Research Institute of Turkey. After relocating to the US, she took a long break to raise family. She developed an interest in photography and pursued continuing education in this field. Excuse me. She started the second chapter of her career practicing freelance commercial photography. She currently works at Apple as a camera image quality engineer. She has a BS and MS in electronics engineering from Istanbul Technical University and a digital imaging certificate from West Valley College, our neighbor. So thank you so much. And finally, I'm happy to introduce to you Rachel Rankin. Rachel is a spam analyst at Facebook and also a past Kenyatta grad. So some of you may know her. She's a math nerd, a Kenyatta graduate, avocado aficionado, and outdoor enthusiast. Rachel graduated from Kenyatta in 2011 after exploring and enjoying economics, math, physics, music, and much more. She went on to study applied mathematics at UCLA and finished her schooling with a master's in economics from UCSC. She currently occupies her working hours fighting spam and fraud as an analyst at Facebook. So let's get a round of applause for Rachel. Okay, so I think I've talked enough at this point. You guys ready to get into the panel? All right, great. I'm going to pass this over to Aylin, and we can get started.
Hi everyone, welcome here. I can, speak for everyone. So nice to be here. So we heard your bios, and I have a icebreaking question. It's very difficult though. So tell us something that it's not in your bio, and if it is not about a superpower, if you could have one, what would that be?
Okay, I guess I'll get started. Let's see, coming from parents that have amazing work ethics, I think I've been a little bit of a workaholic my entire life, and I've been striving to be a bit more balanced with my life, and now that we are expecting our first son, I think that's going to really shift my priorities in my career. So I'm actually really excited to see what happens and take on the challenge of what will be likely a lesson in selflessness and stamina. So that's for sure. If I had a superpower, I think it would be mind reading. I think that's one that I would love to have. But I want to reframe that question because I actually am a believer that many people have superpowers. So, and the more that we know our superpower, the more that helps us advance in life. So I would prompt that out to everyone to kind of think that. My superpower is almost like a camera focus lens. So I'm really good at being able to zoom out and see the big picture of things, and then being able to zoom in and see the details. And like that has helped me a lot in my career. So.
One thing about me, I think something relevant to why we are here today. I'm the eldest of 3 sisters, and we're all engineers. And I think that's the result of having a father who wanted to have a boy so badly. Looks like we all wanted to prove ourselves. Well, it worked. For the superpower, I think I would like to be able to travel at the light speed. That would be pretty cool.
And you wouldn't have to take your shoes off at the TSA.
That's true. That's true too. Yep. Side benefit.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing about me that's not in my bio is that myself and my brother share the same birthday, and we are not twins. But if I had to have a superpower, I would love to have omnilingualism. And what does that mean? That means that I can travel anywhere in the world and not have to deal with the language barrier. So that would be pretty awesome.
Hi there, I'm Rachel, and let's see. I thought about this one for a bit. What's something not in my bio? So I thought I would tell you a short, funny story about being a student here. I was homeschooled, and I came here during high school, took a bunch of classes, blah, blah, blah. And I applied for scholarships when I was transferring, as everyone should. And I was trying to figure out ways to set myself apart, I did, PTK, I was in Mesa, whatever. So one thing I thought I'd add was that I was valedictorian at my high school, and I was homeschooled. So I applied for the scholarship, and then the people reviewing it was like Professor Rochelle, who knew me as a student in his econ class, and I get an email, or I think I showed up for his class, and he's like, that was a nice one you tried to pull there. We're pretty sure you're not the valedictorian of your class, but hey, there's only one option, so. And then for the superpower, the one I thought of actually first was pretty relevant to kind of our topic tonight, which is I honestly would love to be able to put any person in any other person's shoes, so that they could see life from that person's perspective. And I think that would be very useful for all of us.
All right, going into a little bit deeper areas now. I'm sure there are some students in this room that they don't know what to expect after they graduate, or they don't know what to do after they graduate. At least I was like that at your age. In terms of you and where you are, did you plan it or did you stumble into it?
I didn't plan it at all. It's a stumble up in it, but it's not completely random though. I mean, I can go a little bit back. As I said, moving to the United States, I took a long break because I chose to raise a family. And then when the kids are grown, I didn't know what to do with myself. So that's when I started going to a community college and took some interest in photography. And I said, oh, this looks, interesting and challenging. And then maybe I can do something with it. And I wanted to become a freelance photographer doing business-to-business photography. And actually started doing it. 2 years into that, I saw this job opening at Apple. The description just fit my qualifications like a glove. I said, yeah, this is made for me. And I applied to it right that evening, and then that happened. So I found myself in that position. Yeah.
Combining that job basically combines photography and electronic engineering.
Having a technical background and on top of it where I can apply it. So both of them, it just worked for me.
Any takers?
So in terms of my career, did I plan it or did I stumble upon it? So what I would say is that it's not that it was a planned career. I will say that it's one of my passions. So I love to plan and create spaces, right? So I love to plan and coordinate things. So engineering program management is kind of like that, right? We're always planning things, coordinating different schedules, timelines, and things like that. So that's what I would say. Just about your passion. So like kind of along the lines of the other panelists, sorry. Sevtap. Be like, find your passion, right? And see how your passion can fit into what you can do in life. That's what I would encourage students to do.
Do you have one?
Yeah, I think very similar. I did not plan for my career. I didn't even know that what I do now existed. But I pursued things that I was interested in, math, economics, etc., and learned, the technical skills that go along with those subjects, but also just pursued ideas and things that I was interested in. And then it's almost like the job made itself for me in a way, because, once you start filtering out the things that you're not interested in, then you can start focusing on those things. So.
Do you have something to add?
Sure, yeah. Once again, I don't think I planned for it, but definitely keeping your mind open to experiences that feed into your passion and the things that you love had definitely helped shape my career. I started studying graphic design, and here I am working in tech, right? So I think it's more of keeping an open mind and trying to, when you find yourself really enjoying doing something, keep yourself open to looking for more and more of those experiences.
Would you also say that taking opportunities is also important in that? I mean,
actually taking risks.
Risks, right?
A ton of them, yeah.
When you say open-minded,
yeah. So, for example, sometimes I think that happens a lot to women, and coming from an arts background, there's a lot of self-doubt in your own ability to do things, and I think conquering that is the first step. And then being able to take risks of situations where you might feel out of depth, out of your water, will really help you explore your own boundaries and will help you grow as a person and in your career. So that's actually really important.
All right. We did speak about school a little bit, but what subjects did you take in school that you took for granted, but you ended up actually using it more often than you thought in your career?
Okay, since I have the mic. I would say sociology and ethnography. And I know that sounds super random, but coming from right now in the work that I do a lot of user experience, and there's a lot of user research that needs to happen for that. And so those classes, even though they were to me cool and interesting when I was taking them, I didn't think they were going to be as important as they have become. So
I think for me it was logic. Looking back, those are the skills I use every day, and I believe everybody does too. So don't skip that class if it's offered to you. You can apply it to your personal life, at work. It helps with everything, your persuasion skills. Everything, probably.
For me, this might not sound super believable given my job, but the number one thing that I took for granted was statistics. Because I thought, it's like a weak version of math, But apparently most employers don't think that. So I've actually used that a lot, and you can discover some really cool things through statistics. And the other one, actually, surprisingly, because I was here, was computer science. And I took one class here I took it at Foothill, actually, but I didn't even consider computer science as a degree, but now I really wish I had. But yeah, so that class was actually very, very useful to me later on.
So for me, one of the classes that I probably took for granted in college was my technical writing class. And what I did not know is that I have to write all the time, writing all these documents, always corresponding with emails. And so technical writing helps you to address the issues that are at hand, right? Thorough, because you're dealing with different languages, so you have to make sure they understand it. And also you have to make it plain to the readers, right? Make it as if they're in the room, even if they miss the meeting. So if you are not strong at writing, I encourage everybody to take a writing class because you will use it. You cannot get away from it.
For those of you who attended community college, I think that goes to Sevtap and Rachel. What did you take away from your experience?
Actually, my community college education landed me to my current job. Otherwise, I wouldn't be qualified for it. I had an engineering degree, but I had a year's break that took me away from the industry and current trends. I wouldn't know where to start. But being an adult, going to the community college, randomly getting into some area that you're passionate about, actually I found it, and then sticking with it, you learn a lot, and then it worked for me. It just, made all the difference in the world for me. So.
For me, I think there were two main things that I took away from attending Kenyatta. One of the things was just the diverse set of people that I encountered when I was here. All different ages, backgrounds, like socioeconomic, like racial, etc. And even going to UCLA, which is also a pretty diverse school, I don't think, I mean, especially like the age distribution is, I mean, it's all young students. So I just really kind of appreciated the chance to meet so many different people from all these different backgrounds. And then the other thing was really the relationships I developed with my professors here. They really cared about teaching, and that wasn't really my experience when I transferred. The teachers loved their subject, but they weren't necessarily passionate about teaching. So I like that about it.
All right, so now I want to go into the area of being a woman in tech and underline background. So what do you think higher education's role should be to encourage more women to enter STEM fields?
Well, we were mentioning it right before the panel, but I think events like this are actually really important. So I want to shout out to STEM Center here at Cañada College, because I think a lot of women that don't necessarily see other people they relate to in those fields are not necessarily going to pro for them, because it almost feels like you're an outsider before you even get there. So that for one. Secondly, I think it's really important from a younger age to start to expand a little bit more what STEM is. I know traditionally it has been defined in like higher education, it's like traditional sciences, technology, engineering, math. I'm a big believer that STEM should be more like STEAM, including the arts, because more and more so right now, technology is at a place where it's evolving from being like just specific products to experiences that need interdisciplinary collaboration. So the more I think that young students that are exposed to like the great collaborations that happen between photography and engineering, for example, or how all these different disciplines can start to bridge together to create what will be our the tech industry tomorrow. I think that's gonna prove really interesting for a lot of people that might feel intimidated by the traditional STEM or not feel as excited about that field.
I think there are answers very obvious, events like this, mentoring kids. Another thing comes to my mind, opening this into discussion among students and hearing from them what they think, back and forth, maybe female and male, both, and what is in the way. Hearing from them and maybe getting some clue from that would be useful too. And here, the college age, there was another question similar to this, continuation to this. What if you're studying something else but you change your mind? I don't think it's ever late. At this age, it's never late. You can change. You can stop and start taking your math classes or physics or whatever you want to. And whatever you learned so far, it's going to stay with you. And actually, it could be even better. That gives a unique flavor, and who knows where you'll find yourself after that. So I would say just go for it. If you have your heart in it, change it.
One way I think that higher education could encourage more women to be a part of STEM is possibly, coupled with this type of event, is to have a rotational program, because maybe they may not want to be in it for the full 3 years or however long they're going to be here, but if they're exposed to it and they understand what it will take, they might actually enjoy it. And I feel like that would be a good way to retain students. You get them in the door, right? Expose them, and then you retain them. So that could be one way.
Yeah, I really agree with mentoring kids earlier on. I think a lot of stereotypes happen earlier on, or kids become aware of them. and girls, you know, start to fall behind in math or become disinterested, for example. I think for higher education, this could mean really having partnerships with people who are studying STEM for STEAM here at the college and getting involved with students who are in junior high or elementary school even, just interactive.
I have a relevant question, I suppose, the next one. What has been your experience being a woman in a traditional male-dominated industry? For example, Rachel and Aisha talked about mentorship, I guess. Did you have mentors or role models or sponsors in your career that helped you progress? Was it part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, being a double minority, woman and Latina, and ESL doesn't really help you that much. But my experience in general has been that I have had to prove myself a lot more than my male counterparts. But I've been very, very fortunate to have amazing mentors along my career. And incredibly, they've all been men. So they've all been men who believed in me, believed in my work, were really cautious and mindful of explaining me the lay of the land and helping me guiding me through very difficult situations, sometimes tough decisions that I needed to make. So I think once you start building rapport with someone, always try to build rapport with someone in your work, right? A team, peer, manager, etc. Try to build long-lasting relationships that go beyond the work. And if you get along with someone, don't feel intimidated to reach out and say, you know what, I would really appreciate it. You could be my mentor or help me through this situation. Like it, once again, risk-taking. It takes a little bit of you putting yourself out there, and you'll reap the rewards of that, like twofold, honestly. So.
You said your mentors were mainly men.
All of them.
What would you expect your female counterparts, you know, your female colleagues or bosses or supervisors or anybody to do to support you?
So I think that's a great question, because I think in general this applies to both men and women. So beyond mentorship that we just discussed, I have been really fortunate to have people that have provided what now it's been called in the industry radically candid feedback, which is, for a lot of women, as I was saying before, particularly coming from the arts in my particular experience, I had a lot of self-doubt. So receiving public praise in front of my colleagues or clients that I was working with helped me kind of get over that hump for myself. But when I needed to receive very clear constructive criticism, they would do that in private, so I wouldn't feel intimidated or put down or by any means like offended. So I think that was really important in my career, because once I started seeing where they were coming from, they were really trying to just help me out, help me become a better professional. And so I think a lot of women particularly are probably a little bit better at doing that than men are. So hopefully more of that. And then secondly, particular to women, I find that creating spaces for having sincere discussions about the obstacles that you're finding in your workplace is really important. And those sometimes are unique topics that it's harder to talk directly with just a mentor if it's a man, in my case. And sometimes it's not as tangible, because they're, for example, in my field, I deal with a lot of clients. A lot of the clients I deal with are men. Sometimes they're older men, and sometimes they've been raised in really traditional ways, etc., etc. So for a long time, I had an issue being heard by clients. And so one of my mentors was a person that said, you know what, why don't you start having wingmen? And I was like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, like you get along really well with this person, you guys see eye to eye, why don't you develop a strategy so if you're trying to bring a point across, this person echoes you in the room. And that helped flip so many meetings that were going sideways, you know. So I think even small things like that apply beyond women to other men as well.
I did not have a mentor. I'm thinking about it. No, I think whatever I've done it on my own. And honestly, it depends on where you work. I'm thinking of my last 6 years at Apple. I should say that it was all encouraging. I did not have any challenges then gender specific applied to me. If there were any, I think they were self-inflicted. And they were tied to my background, my upbringing, family values. Women need to be quieter, more understanding, better tempered, more patient, that sort of stuff. I mean, no one told me this, but I was, you know, it's in my head. That's how I try to carry myself. And then at times, you just have to stop those voices in your head and then, you know, work against it. So that's my experience.
Yeah, so my experience as a woman has been, I mean, at the worst, it's been lonely. There are a lot of men compared to women on my team and in engineering at Facebook, although they try really hard. But yeah, it can be pretty lonely. I think part of it is because whether we like it or not, like the lingo is usually different between men and women, and you know, women tend to kind of hone in on me and say, you know, how are you doing? You know, what's going on? Like, what, you know, what are you working on? And a guy is not usually gonna come up to me and ask those questions. You know, they're like, did you see the new game? I mean, that's so, you know, stereotypical, but so I mean, part of it's been like learning how to express myself, but using kind of a different language. I think I don't really have any mentors per se. My manager is a huge supporter of mine. I mean, one of the biggest things I've encountered is like, if people will listen to you, that's like the biggest thing. If, you know, as a guy, one thing that you can do is just when a woman expresses something, like she's experienced this at work, she experiences this at school, is just listen. I know it sounds really simple, but most people don't do it, and I get talked over. It's really weird to hear yourself say something, suggest an idea, and not hear anyone have no one listen to you, and then, you know, your coworker next to you, he brings it up and they're like, wow, that's such a good idea. Where did you come up with that? And it's like, well, maybe he was listening. So, I mean, just listening, because people express themselves differently. You know, I'm not going to shout something in your face if you don't want to hear me, but, you know, keep your ears attuned. But I have had a lot of women coworkers, and we, you know, get lunch together. We can really feel supported by each other. So that takes away a lot of the loneliness, or just feeling like, no one understands me kind of feeling. So,
Thank you. I feel like everything I was going to say, Rachel just said it. Being in a male-dominated culture, because you know, being in engineering, it's dominated with nothing but men. But one thing I can say, and you know, is just to really hone in on what those key things that it is that they are talking about. Because if you can bring something valid to the table, then they hear you, right? But if you're just talking, it's like, oh, okay, she's just talking, right? But on the opposite side, what I could say for men to support women is the fact just to listen to what we're saying. And sometimes you need to see where we're coming from, because we might be able to bring a different perspective to the table that they may not have thought about. And one way that women can support each other is to always build each other up. You know, never tear one another down, because I feel like sometimes everybody's trying to get to the top, that they are leaving other people behind and not helping bring them with them. So that's what I would encourage for women: stick together and help one another. And well, since we are women in tech, let's talk about tech. We talked about the woman part, and let's talk about tech. Where do you think the tech industry is headed in the future, and what are some of the exciting emerging fields?
Well, I think I started mentioning a little bit of it earlier, but as I said, I think it's actually a really exciting time to be in tech. In the next few years, tech will have the capability of actually touching every point and part of our lives and hopefully improving it. So I think we're at a really exciting place and time to be in technology field right now. What are some of the more exciting things that I see happening? For me, it's everything that has to be when two fields, untraditional fields, come together, like education technology. Think of things like Coursera, right? Bringing education to people that would otherwise not have access to university degrees because they live in really remote places. Or the innovations happening in financial technology with peer-to-peer lending, helping give access to money to people who otherwise would fall outside of the traditional loan industry, you know. So those are the ones that I get super excited about because they're starting to, I see the power of technology as being able to help redistribute access to resources, and now that there's a lot of interdisciplinary collaboration happening, I see the possibilities of that. So.
What I think is everything is going to get smarter around us. Our homes, our cars, our gadgets, and there will be a lot of information ingested, and machine learning and artificial intelligence probably will take a lot of load off of our shoulders. And my hope is that we will have more time for humanity and arts. That's my hope.
So, where's technology is going a lot of different places. Kind of more so things you guys just said, but also I do believe a lot of things are coming to more touch, right? Touch devices and things like that. Also, smaller devices as well. You know, being able to transport them with you. That's going to become a big thing. The other thing is, I think one interesting one would be self-driving cars. I know we've kind of started it. I'm not sure we've been as successful, but as we keep moving with technology and as technology gets smarter, I think the self-driving car would be pretty cool.
Yeah, so, I mean, some of these things I was thinking about are things that companies are already doing, but I think equalizing the playing field is a huge part of it. Crowdfunding, I think, is super cool. Providing internet access to people who don't have it. That's like on par with feeding people and giving them jobs because, you know, you could tell them where to get food, tell them how to grow, you know, whatever it is, they have that access. Artificial intelligence, I think, is huge. My friend was telling me the other day that her roommate works at a place where they're using AI to become lawyers, which is really cool and weird. But this would like really give people access to potentially like people, like a lawyer to represent them when they can't afford it, because the technology could be very cheap for someone, and it could really equalize, you know, that justice system.
That's a very good, actual subject, which I discussed with my colleagues and my friends a lot too. Like in the past, when industrialization happened, then the labor dropped. Obviously, you know, nobody needed labor because the machines could do it. So it's just kind of happening with the artificial intelligence now. Some of the work, you know, cooking or driving a car is not needed, for a person. So I always try to find, at least from my experience, areas that a machine cannot replace me. You just need to constantly improve yourself and find, places where, you won't be, replaced with a machine. Even with the artificial intelligence or machine learning or deep learning, there's always something that we can, I guess, obviously have, and not the machines. So do you agree with Mark Zuckerberg or Tesla? Elon Musk? This was not in the list, I'm sorry.
I mean, if AI wants to take over the world,
let's be it. Let's be it.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll have time. We'll enjoy art and
yeah,
let them work.
We better make them compassionate. But see, what you were saying, I think it's interesting. We've developed for thousands and thousands of years new technology, you know, like, the cart and like the wheel and all this stuff all the way up to now. And we're developing faster at a faster rate than we were before, but the development of those industries always has provided new jobs, and we lose some, but we gain a lot. So I think, yeah, what you said is key. We need to keep learning too. Yeah.
Well, machine is learning, we better. Do we have more time? Yeah, okay, all right. I have some couple of follow-up questions here. I think we went through this. We discussed about the courses that you took and you took for granted. So what were your favorite courses at college?
I think my favorite were those that had to do with identity formation, because I've always been interested in what forms and conforms behavior and how people are affected by those norms. So, yeah.
Well, I like all of my math classes. I think probably I had 10 or so of them. I enjoyed all of them because it's like solving puzzles for me. And also major specific tech classes, they always excited me. I remember starting every semester because you're qualified to learn a little bit more, a little deeper. That first class, I would be so excited. But of course, there were some that I don't really think very highly, like antennas or electromagnetic fields. But I'm not sure if this was due to the instructor or the subject. I'm not really sure.
For me, I would say, so I loved a lot of my economics classes, microeconomics. I loved development economics. I learned a lot about, randomized controlled trials and what actually helps to eliminate poverty. Before, it had kind of just been like, yeah, we think that giving people this will help them, but in this class, they showed us a lot of studies where people did statistical studies and actually showed within this population that things work or don't work. I loved game theory. I loved, one random class I took when I was at UCLA was a space weather class, and I loved that class. That was a seminar, and I mean, I don't know how many pictures of the Aurora Borealis you can show, but that guy, he showed them all. But I love that class, it was very cool.
So there was two classes I liked. One I really enjoyed was my quality control class. And quality control helps you a lot. Well, as an engineering program manager, helps me a lot, right? For understanding, which pieces are good, and you have to analyze them. And so it's like, one's bad, you got to reject it, right? So just forward thinking, it helps you in terms of rejection rate, but it's kind of fun. The other thing that I like is Create a Meaningful Life. That was one of the classes I took at San Jose State. So often it's like once you get into your career, you find that you're just working, right? And in some careers, you're traveling a lot. And so sometimes there's no time for your personal life. And so it's good to have that work-life balance. And so that was one of the classes that I took in college, was just create a meaningful life. Do the things that you love, but also work hard as well. So just creating that balance.
What surprises you most about your job?
How much I need to constantly educate people. And how much consensus building goes into it. So I would say half of my job is educating and building consensus, and maybe the other half like conceptualizing, creating, implementing. So that is surprising, and I think still refreshing because anytime any of us stops learning, we become harmful to ourselves. So it's important to keep that going.
What surprises me over and over is that how easy to find yourself in a situation that you start living to work instead of working to live. In high tech, everything is so fast and deadlines. You find yourself in this spiral. It's brutal. You work day and night, you sleep with it, you wake up with it. But that is not right. I'm trying to remind myself every time, this is not it, I'm here so I can make a living. But it's very easy to get lost in it.
Oh man, one thing that surprised me about my job, I think, was the amount of traveling that I have to do. I didn't know if I had to do this much traveling. I'm not complaining, I enjoy it, but I think it was just something that, I have to get used to doing. And the other thing was that I actually really enjoy is I get to spend a lot of time with our engineers that work on our various projects, so I get to learn from them. I get to go down to their labs and see how they're testing the different products that they're working on and any issues that they're having, and to watch them debug it. That way it helps me understand the issues that they are seeing.
For me, the main thing that I've been surprised by is really how much I love my work. I've heard people say, oh, I like my job, but there's X, Y, Z. And so when I graduated from undergrad, I was scared of going to a job, honestly, and sitting at a desk. And I was like, this is going to be my whole life. I'm just going to sit at a desk. And so that's why I went to grad school. But after working there, I've just been surprised. It's constantly challenging. My coworkers are really lovely people. They're very interesting. They're from all over the globe. I think I have like 25 people on my team. There's only 3 who are from the US. So I don't have to I don't have to travel anywhere. They all came to my team. So that, and just the constant new challenges. I don't even have to, go out of my way to learn new things, because just by nature of doing my job, I'm introduced to all different new topics and ideas.
Since we were talking about your jobs, where do you see your own career going?
Wow. I personally think at this point in my career, I'm more interested in working and collaborating with people that share the same values that I share. And so I am blessed to be the decision maker in my company. So more and more I'm seeking those type of opportunities. So we recently started working with a startup that's, for example, it's a ride sharing app for women by women. So it's tackling head on all the problems that Uber is facing right now. So more and more, that's the way I see my career and hopefully our company growing. Yeah.
Well, at my current company, I'm pretty happy with where I am as an individual contributor. I have no ambitions to, climb up the ladder and become something else. I think it's up to your personality. I like it the way it is right now, and being respected and listened to, valued, that's good enough for me. But of course, I don't want to stay there and work for them forever. My dream job, or I should say dream, is to start my own business with my girls. Girl power. So that would be so awesome. Someday, hopefully, we can do that. So they don't have to work for another company, and they can spend all the time with their family as they want, with the flexibility they have. Well, we'll see if it happens or not.
What kind of business would that be?
Photography? No, probably not. But I don't know. I mean, we all have different backgrounds. One is in business, the other one is in advertising, and I have the technical background. We'll see. We'll find some common ground somewhere.
Cross discipline. So there you go. That's fine.
So it's hard to know where my career will go. I feel like I just started. So in the short term, I'm an analyst right now, so I do a lot of engineering and data science, but not exactly either of those. So I'm probably going to go more into like software engineering. But more topically, I like I said earlier, I love development economics. And now that I've been doing abuse detection for 3 years, I also have found a passion for that. So I'd love to kind of combine the two. There's a lot of organizations, nonprofits that do things like rescue people from human trafficking and that sort of thing. So that seems like it would be a good alignment with my passion. So let's see.
So from here, I plan to continue on my same journey. I love what I do. I'm engineering program manager. But the other thing is I want to encourage young ladies. And I have a wonderful, wonderful boss who is a great mentor to me as well. And so one day I want to be in a position where I can help other young ladies and mentor them as well. From some of the challenges that I face, the way I can help them. So that's what I want to do.
Great. One more question. Or we are done. Yep, we are done. We're going to go to the next phase.
All right, so, whoa, that was very loud. So let's get a round of applause for our panelists. This has been amazing. Thank you all so much. I'm happy to share that we are not done yet. What we want to do actually at this point is turn it around to all of you. So we're going to be able to pass the mic around and all of you can ask questions to the panel. I see a hand back here, so we're going to start here. And if you have a question, just raise your hand and we'll come to you with a microphone. Sound good? I see another one, so we'll start getting the mic around. So please announce yourself.
My name is Michael Craig. Thank you so much for coming here as a panel. I'm a father of 15-year-old girl, want to inspire her to do STEM as well. But I have a question, since I've heard it kind of repeated from all the panel, about work-life balance. My wife's a controller of a big company. She's also sort of the acting CFO of a construction company and done software changes over. And work-life balance, not just for women, but for men as well, where, I think the technology is great, but it seems like instead of working less hours, you're there 12, 16 hours a day. So how would you how would I tell my daughter to go for what her passion is, but at the same time don't kill herself? Because I hear it from a lot of women and men who are living at their work. And so I don't know what your response to that for work-life balance is, but I want technology to make life easier and create some work-life balance. So any hints on that?
That's a great question. At Facebook, we call it work-life integration. So, but I think for me, and I've only been working for about 3 years, so I'm not an expert, but it has to do with setting boundaries and determining beforehand, talking to your manager, your coworkers, whoever it is, and saying, having boundaries for yourself and sticking to them. I'm not going to work past 10. I'm not going to open my phone on Saturdays. And I don't know, it may set you back in some industries a small amount, but to be honest with you, it's totally worth it because I've seen so many people burn out. And for me, it hasn't impacted my work at all. When I started on my team, I set an expectation that I'm not going to do certain things. I'm going to only take, I'll take on extra work, but it's going to fit into my schedule. I'm the one who's determining that schedule because it's my life. So that's really important, that teaching those boundaries and saying that it's okay to say no, and it's okay to tell people that you can't work 24 hours a day.
Hi, my question's actually in the same vein. I'm an older student like you. I went back to school after my kids grew up, and I took time off. And normally I'm in tech and I'm a contractor now because I find that easier for me. But my question is when you are an older worker and you are working the 20-hour days, because I do implementation and resolution during HR, payroll, and benefit implementations. So they call me when they messed it up and then have to go and fix it. And they expect someone of an advanced age to work 12 to 20 hours a day. I mean, it's been 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm dying because obviously I'm no longer 20. And I'm not sure, how do I go about saying, okay, there's this boundary. As a contractor, it's almost like they push you as far as you can. And, you know, I obviously love my job when I'm doing it, but I would like to be able to get more than 2 hours sleep before I go back in.
Well, I understand your pain, but unfortunately I don't have an answer for it because it's so hard, right? You need to be able to say no when you cannot do it. And also maybe finding smarter ways of working around it. You know, sometimes I have coworkers a lot younger than me. I mean, younger than my own kids, almost. And they're full of energy. They just run around, walk. But most of the time, they waste a lot of time too. They make a lot of mistakes. And I just sit there and do my job. And usually I'm more productive and efficient from them. So something comes with the age. I would say just embrace it. Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Delilah and I'm a bioengineering major here at Kenyatta. And I would really like you guys to address imposter syndrome and strategies in terms of dealing with it, because that's, for me personally, an issue.
This is a very recurring topic. So we recently at She Leads, which is an organization mostly dedicated to design industry, but I think this applies. We did an exercise with the Stanford Z School about this very same topic. So I think it's important for you to assess 3 things, is what we discovered. First and foremost, what are your strengths? What do you bring to the table? Like, kind of almost objectively. Is it not only your soft skills, but your abilities? Like, am I really dexterous at problem solving? Am I really good at bridging communication or collaborating with, like, across the aisle? Like, what are those? And define them for yourself. Second, once you are at a place, say, be it a workplace, your college, whatever situation you're at, assess what are the values that are valued in that place, okay? So are people highly rewarded there by being outspoken? Are people highly rewarded by bringing new business? Like, they vary so much situation to situation. But try to take a step back and kind of really assess that. And then third, put that together, you know? Do my skills, the things that I bring to the table, and the values of this organization, what this organization values, do those align? If they don't, maybe that's not the place for you. And that's like a hard decision you have to make. And if they do, find ways for you to actually bring those forth so not other people see them as well, and that you can grow in your career path. I mean, I know it's really abstract, but hopefully it helps you with a little template. Yeah? Okay.
Can someone explain what imposter syndrome is?
Yeah, I know what that is.
Imposter syndrome is essentially something that a lot of women suffer from, which is, okay, I get this job, I'm not good enough. I'm not gonna be able to do this, or like, I get this challenge, even if I have all the abilities and qualifications to perform it, I don't feel that I am able to perform it because I haven't been reassured enough in my career, in my life, that I will be able to do that. So that's a good summary of it, I guess.
You are worthy.
Thank you.
I was gonna say kind of a similar thing, but for me, you know, I got hired to my position, same as everyone else on my team, same as everyone else in the company. You know, we have a standard interview process, but yeah, that feeling is just so real. Like it was an accident that I'm here. Like I somehow snuck through, you know, they interview thousands of people a day, but somehow mine was messed up and they made a mistake. I think throughout the couple of years that I've been working, part of it is just telling myself, just like addressing that's actually a lie in my head, like just straight on addressing it. Like, no, you did the same interview as everyone else and they meant to have you here. And just like repeating that in my head, like they interviewed you're meant to be here. And identifying your own strengths is great because you can kind of play to those. But part of it is too, which is similar to what you were saying, just expectations. I think part of it comes down to I expect to be affirmed in some way, and then I don't get that. I expect that, when I say something that I think is a good idea, that my manager and my coworkers are going to be like, wow, that's a good idea. But I don't get that because maybe they have different expectations and maybe they just didn't feel like verbalizing what they thought. So I think if it's really a problem, addressing, especially with your manager or people you feel safe with, that you're feeling this way, and if they could affirm the things that you're good at, so that you're on the same page about what your expectations are, that can be really helpful because then you know that you guys are on the same page. And if you really are kind of screwing up in one area or you're not fulfilling their expectations, then they can feel free to tell you about it. So you don't have to live in this fear of like, am I good enough? Am I not good enough? Why am I here? Is this the right place? Because you'll know that safe person is going to tell you exactly what they're thinking about.
I'd like to add on that. The biggest affirmation that you can get is basically money and promotion and title, right? And unfortunately, women, tech or non-tech industries, they suffer from this because they don't negotiate, they don't ask for promotion, they don't ask for raise, they don't ask for this and that, or they don't ask a little bit of time off, or back off, to ask them to back off, and that's because of this inner insecurity, unfortunately, and thinking that we don't deserve it, or there's somebody better than us. Another better woman or man, not necessarily, a gender issue, but it's just an internal thing. And that's why there's a huge salary gap between men and women, even in Silicon Valley. Actually, maybe even so in Silicon Valley, because tech is heavily... and when I catch that, I just, I say stop, and still, I did well, very well. So it is very important to get over it. And I start asking whatever is holding you back, even if sometimes they realize that acknowledge there's a compliment and stuff, especially here in Silicon Valley. So I started to ask here, like start giving. So it works. It just doesn't happen. Or if it happens, it's very short time. So eventually, you need to realize when you catch yourself. Another problem is we don't even know that we are doing this.
Want to hear from everybody.
Once you realize that you're doing this, you're self-doubting, and then you're putting yourself
what is
back,
one lesson or one piece of advice you could have
tying yourself unnecessarily. You should just say, at least I do that for myself. I catch myself doing that a lot.
It's kind of a loaded question.
Even when I do something great. I do something great, and I always think I should have done it this way. It could have been much better. It's like, I want the case. What else do you want? That's it.
Underprepared. And you're always learning. Like, when you get a new job, hopefully the person that hires you, They hire you because of your current skills and your potential, because they see your ability to grow into X position, but you're not gonna get to Facebook and know exactly how to do spam filter. There's always onboarding and growth, but once you get over the fact that you're supposed to have it all sorted out and know exactly how to write to this person or reach out to this other person, or there's all this that is expected of me, and you learn to understand that everyone from the CEO down is still learning as they're doing, I think that helps you a lot. In hindsight, I would have loved to know that.
I would say very similar. Everyone's insecure about something. Sometimes that surfaces as making other people feel less than so that they can feel secure in their skills. So, you can really feel the impact of that. But another thing is I would say just ask questions. When I started out, it was,